Hello, welcome to Oxford Heirlooms. In this video, we're going to be sewing entredot to the armhole openings. And as you can see, I have already sewn it on to one armhole and zigzagged and trimmed kind of close to the zigzag. So let me show you how I did that. What I did was I started out by cutting a piece of entredot that was a little bit longer than the armhole opening. Now this needs to curve around the armhole opening, so I cut notches on both sides of my entredot. Okay, so I'm going to start by pinning at the underarm opening. I'll start with the back of the skirt. I guess I could have started with the front, but I guess it doesn't really matter. Okay, so with my silk pins, I will start to pin this entredot to the armhole opening, just following the curve of the armhole opening. And when I get up here to the lace where I have it drawn in with a blue line, I will follow my blue line. Put lots of pins in, that way the entredot will stay curved and close and stay lined up along the edge of the armhole opening. Okay, I'm getting up close to the shoulder seam. So once I pass this shoulder seam, I'll begin to pin the entredot along the blue line that I drew. The reason I'm putting entredot at this seam is because the lace panel in the front. This kind of gives a little bit of added strength to that seam. And just work your way up underneath the armhole opening in the front. I'll work my way there and continue to pin. Got a little more entredot that I need, but it's okay. I'd rather have too much than not enough. Okay, now I've got me set my machine to a straight stitch. And with a straight stitch, I'm going to sew right to the right of this entredot ladder and sew the entredot to the armhole opening. Take your pins out as you come to them. And go kind of slow because this is a curve and you want to stay real close to the entredot ladder. without going on top of it or without floating away from it. Okay, this is going to take me a minute to get all the way around the armhole opening, so I'll be right back. Okay, I've got that entree sewn on around, so I need to be able to press my entree seam toward the inside. But I'm going to trim at the blue line at the edge of the entree. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is everywhere I've got the entree notched, I'm going to notch the batiste and the lace of the bodice so that it will flare towards the inside. Okay, all right, now I need to go to the ironing board and press this seam toward the inside of the bodice so that I can come back and zigzag that folded seam into place. So I'll be right back. Okay, I've got that entree seam pressed toward the inside of the bodice. I've got my sewing machine set to a zigzag and the appropriate stitch length and stitch width for sewing entree, but I'm going to do something a little bit different this time. Normally when I zigzag, I catch the fold of the fabric on the left and go in the entree hole on the right. But because of the nature of this shoulder seam, I'm going to zigzag just immediately to the left of the entree ladder I'm going to catch the fold of the fabric on the left and catch the edge of the folded fabric on the right rather than going in the entree hole. That will give me a little bit stronger of a seam, because I'll have more zigzag on the outside rather than going into the entree holes. And as I mentioned before, the reason I'm doing the entredeux seam is because of the lace panel on the front bodice. You don't want to just sew a seam right onto a single layer of lace, because that would likely tear if there was any stress on it. Okay, this will take me a minute to get around to the end of the sleeve, so I'll be right back. Okay, I've got that zigzagged, and I have started with my specialty scissors trimming these notches close to the zigzag line on the inside, and it kind of makes a mess because I literally, because of the flare and curve of the armhole opening, I have to cut one notch at a time. There. Let me clean up my mess. Okay, let's see if we can zoom out here and see what we got. Okay. All right, that gets the entredeux onto both armhole openings, and we are ready for, in the next video, to set the sleeve into the armhole openings. But in this video, we were sewing the entredeux to the armhole openings and zigzagging and then trimming along the inside. Thank you.